countdown continues. I'm on the 9th chapter to finishing my 3rd book, Mastering Your Soul Works. It is chapter 62, and it is called Backup Plans. Moment of truth. I would never, ever have moved forward with my business, my center, or most of my life's work had I not had a backup plan. For myself, the backup plan was in terms of financial aid, because let's face it, we live in a material world where money currently rules our existing domain. Now, based on someone who talks to spirit 24/7, though, I always found it interesting that I would have trusted my financial backup plan more than I originally trusted the guidance I was receiving to believe in my own soul potential and move forward with my own aspirations. Let me explain. When visions of my SOULworks Sacred Healing Center started coming into fruition, I had a few visitors stop by my home. Very thankful for that, by the way. I am. Now, seemingly random, and by no means connected by this physical world, I had a couple people seriously offer to financially back my center. Talk about wonderful validation that I was following my life's calling and on the right track. I confidently concluded. One of those offers was even provided without any verbal communication or indication on my part that I was thinking of or had intentions to create a center in the first place. Yet there it was. Financial support and encouragement coming from all angles. Now, the original offers stood there in the background for many years, like beacons of light, as I moved forward with the courage and faith to start my own business. It wasn't so much the actual financial sustainability that provided the backbone of courage, but the thought and understanding that somehow someone most definitely had my back that kept me going. If I couldn't afford the lease, I knew I could turn to someone for monetary support. If I struggled to find the number of clients or renters needed to stay afloat, I knew where to seek assistance. No matter what the experience going forward, the important aspect was that I knew someone had my back, always. In fact, I carried that little piece of promised support in my back pocket for many years, like an insurance policy for my own SOULworks. Truth. My understanding of their original offer was that all I needed to do was to get the doors open for the flow of money to magically arrive. In a way that was technically true. From the very onset of my grand opening, as I struggled to keep the doors open and fulfill my plethora of responsibilities and financial obligations, money kept arriving in the most synchronistic of ways. Day by day, month by month, year by year. I made it through those lean times of starting my own business slowly but surely, one faithful step at a time. In fact, it was not until many years later when I began reminiscing about those early startup days that I dumbfoundedly realized the original offers of financial support never actually came to fruition. Not at all. To my astounding surprise, I had accomplished everything on my very own. Ironically, it was only the whisper of knowing someone had my back that gave me the courage to move forward. My backup plan never actually materialized. Beyond the actual push, their support was never really there at all. Years later, as I started to become more sure-footed in my own life path, I came into another tango with backup plans. Just as my life's work was starting to move forward, my mind became a jumble of confusion. Every day, I struggled to stay on my path while keeping my own insecurities at bay, coupled with the thoughts and opinions of all others. For example, I became worried about the financial stability of my facility and my family, even though all evidence confirmed I had always been guided and supported. Always guided and supported. I started questioning my own integrity and internal shifts within the center, even though I knew that moving away from a community focus and more solidly towards a space that centered solely around my own individual work was more in alignment with my personal needs at the time. It was. As my mind reeled with continuous doubts, opinions, and scenarios, I finally realized one insightful day that I was creating more backup plans. Not so much towards the finances anymore, for I already carried that monetary load for many years on my own, and I had no doubt in my mind my business would continue to evolve and grow. The backup plans were more geared towards my being a messenger of change. Gulp. The reality of the matter was that if I truly believed in my life's work, understood the background preparations in progress for the past 40-some years of my life, or 53, believed in the words within my own books, and knew they were important, and truly comprehended the scope of my life path, then I would have also need to fully trusted in the plan already in progress. I would have known that I was the creator of that plan, and that my soul knew exactly what she was doing. So, for example, when I would question going back to a community-based facility, even though I had just bravely made the change to solely support my own SOULworks, I would know full well that option was neither my plan nor my own internal dialogue of interrogation. I was very aware, in fact, that I was very overwhelmed with my life path and needed my inner sanctuary to stay balanced, more so than I needed others within the facility offering their own products and services. When I pondered how I could utilize the area within my space to further diversify, I would know that was not my own thoughts or directives either, but instead those within the community comparing and beginning to plan their own sacred spaces. My intentions were not about further expansion, not at all, in order to meet the needs of all others. In truth, and for my own peace of mind, I needed to stay focused on my own life's work and family priorities. When I worried about my service offerings, if they were the right fit, whether I was presenting the proper mix, or if I was actively helping enough people, I would remind myself that my goal was to avoid helping any more under false pretenses. In other words, I was no longer interested in living a double life based on hiding who I was or offering more than I could physically and mentally handle. If people found my center or my work, I wanted them to know and understand my personal truth, but also understand this still very human aspect of my being who craves and needs personal space and balance. Very true. Even when I questioned the scope of metaphysical products to offer, I would know I was just trying to be everything to everybody. If I remembered to add myself into the equation, I would know full well my life needed normalcy and balance, or as much as I could get. What I felt and knew I could handle was simply to feature items that had personally provided hope and inspiration along the way. Nothing less, nothing more. Bottom line, I had a whole lot of my own insecurities, as well as the thoughts and opinions of many others within the community affecting my inner clarity almost daily, by the minute. However, when I took the time, this is important, when I took the time to sit with my life path and what I was actually willing and capable of offering, I would know that all the noise in my head was just more opinions, options, and backup plans. A fundamental truth worth noting. Once we learn how to follow our own heart and soul path, there is not one of us living within this divinely synchronistic world who needs a backup plan, or the opinions of others vying for attention within our own SOULworks. That one makes me smile. That's a lot of healing to get to that point, don't you think? Okay, mastering your SOULworks. My connection to spirit has amplified over the years as I've learned how to trust my own heart and soul. I remember at the beginning of this adventure many moons ago, I would spend hours in contemplation asking my guides for just the right signs, confirmation, or clarity that I could trust the path that is unfolding before me and the decisions I was needing to make. I was always willing to jump into change, but oftentimes I would test the waters, always making sure I was well supported in all my endeavors before eventually proceeding. In honesty, one sign from above was never enough. Nope. I would usually wait for at least 3 or perhaps 33 before diving into the next adventure. Of course, as I walked ahead with faith into the unknown, my path unfolded beautifully. It did. Not that there were never bumps along the way, huge bumps, but that at the end of the day, I always managed to create exactly what I needed while staying true to my own priorities and heart center. That is the key. During those changes, I also began to believe not only in the guidance received, but also in my own ability to carry the load. Lately, my signs and path have started evolving notably faster. I realize some of that has to do with the cosmos in general, but some of my own navigational speed is gaining momentum because I have developed a solid platform and trust process with my own inner guidance. What would have perhaps taken months to unfold or prepare for, even just a few years back, now comes to life much quicker and with very little time spent wondering if I should truly make the next change, if I am ready, or if the stars have fully aligned. Instead, I've learned that guidance arrives when we're already ready. And prepared to take that leap of faith. Any delayed time for extra confirmation is not really needed. Further signs are always provided, thankfully, if we choose to request more validation or confirmation, but never really required when we learn how to fully surrender to the process of our own soul works. Learning to trust and follow our own life path does take faith. I get it. Change is scary. I will attest to that over and over. Change is scary. However, the truth is, there is always divine support when it comes to following your heart. We humans make it much too complicated. Change does not have to be such an intimidating transition. Watch for the signs, observe the synchronicities, then jump in with both feet. Now, since my bout of generating backup plans is officially over, I have come to the understanding Spirit always has our back when and if we are following our own heart's calling. When we are in alignment with our soul, there will always be flow. The trick is double check that you are in alignment with your higher self and not your ego. It is also important to make sure you're not stepping on anyone else's toes or crossing personal boundaries in order to move forward with your own ambitions. Most importantly, when it comes to living your life to its fullest potential, remember that following your spirit is the plan. No backup required. Okay, it's your move. First of all, I need you to trust in your journey. remove the pressure you have put on yourself and take the time to truly enjoy the path that is before you. Your soul is very capable of directing this journey. In fact, you can relax and enjoy the route because your soul will never miss any of your divinely appointed milestone moments in time. I gotta read that again. You can relax and enjoy the route because your soul will never miss any of your divinely appointed milestone moments in time. Your soul came here with a plan and key aspects that will be experienced, while leaving ample room for free will and the interactions of various encounters to add to the equation. Even though the path to get there is often unknown, fluid and interchangeable, your soul will always navigate you to all divine appointments in time. Next, put self-love into the equation. There is always inner clarity that comes with self-love. Always double check what motivates you. If the change you seek is not coming from an authentic place of love for yourself, as well as all others, it is not in balance. Period. Number 3, stay true to you. Many people tend to run from confrontation or cave under pressure of needing to put someone else's perspectives ahead of their own. Stay true to you while asking for the highest good of all involved to unfold. My guides always told me that if I could learn to cope with the opinions, judgments, and scrutinies of the locals, I could and myself, by the way, I could most certainly handle those projected by the world. Instead of running or changing your path to suit the will or expectations of another, learn to stay true to you. Authentic wisdom and heart-centered living comes from within. Thankfully. Next, reflect and respond. Move through your current situation one breath at a time, one step at a time, one experience at a time, one inner reflection at a time. The universe supports all change. Remember to assess your needs as you go, making changes to the plan as you grow into the next phase of your personal evolution. Making change to your plan, it's okay. Changing gears is a refreshing aspect to the soul. In truth, success is not derived from logic or from following the thoughts and opinions of others. It is found by listening to and following the eternal wisdom of your soul. Next, step into the unknown. Making a backup plan. Make a backup plan for your greatest ambitions. Go ahead, make one. Not to use, but to be there as your safety net. As mentioned, I would never have moved forward with my life journey without one. backup plans are important. They provide the reassurance needed to step into the unknown. The reality is that there will always be unknowns. Regardless of how many life decisions and paths we have journeyed, both individually and collectively, it has never been completely sure-footed. There has always been an element of true surrender and trust that there is a bigger picture in motion waiting to be discovered. The truth of our reality comes down to just one question. Are you willing to step into the unknown? And finally, take the path of most resistance. The change makers of this world will always come upon resistance. It takes true grit to stay in alignment with your own clarity amidst a world that likes to provide its views or opinions about your life path. Be okay to follow your own heart even when it is the path less taken. In fact, take the path of most resistance. The path of least resistance, it's only our collective comfort zones in disguise. Thank you once again for being on this journey with me.